Everybody wants to go a bit more organic. Why is that?
The world has become more commercialized. People want products that have a certain texture, smell a certain way, and also have a long shelf life. We've seen a rise of these types of product in the market, but we've also seen a rise in so many other issues like cancers, infertility issues, and hormone disruptions, and ADD, all types of things that are being linked to what we consume. So imagine what is being absorbed on your skin every day. And so to derive those components, you're going to have a lot of chemicals, sulfate, phthalate, things like that. They're not good for us. They sit in our system, they disrupt hormones, they cause skin issues, mental issues, health issues. But if you can just use something in its purest form, it's always better for you.
Do you source everything in Nigeria?
No, most of the things are not sourced here, unfortunately.
Why?
Because we don't have them. So for example, we have lemongrass as a plant. And we have lemongrass everywhere. You might even have lemongrass in this compound, but we don't have lemongrass essential oil.
Why don't we have a lemongrass essential oil?
Because the same thing that is our problem with oil is the same thing that's our problem with anything. We have raw materials, but we don't have a way to process and manufacture them. There are a few products like shea butter, coconut oil. Well, you know what? Now, shea butter is actually cheaper to buy outside than here.
Let's talk about growth and expansion. What growth mechanisms did you put in place? How did you get your first customers? How did you build a brand? How have you been able to find it? What were some decisions that helped you along the journey?
The biggest lesson that I've learned in the last 3 years is that
Welcome, guys, to today's episode. Our mission here in Venture Valley is to keep telling stories about enterprise and ventures being built from Africa that are changing the way we do things, adding value to community, making an impact, and showing that there's a possibility of actually building great businesses from this part of the world. On today's episode, I have someone whose work I've admired, products I've used, and brand I've experienced. And for me, I really like this episode because I have used the product, trusted the brand even before I actually met the person behind the brand. So this episode is actually one that is more like a testimonial because I've experienced the brand, I've seen it grow, and I've seen them start from a very small place to now seeing them establishing and growing to various verticals. This is actually a brand that many of you have heard about. I think they've become a household name. I really do think so because, I mean, everyone I've met knows them and I see their products across the shelves. But really, how does such a brand start? What exactly is the origin story? How does one have the audacity to have such a vision and not just take it from a hobby to building an enterprise around it? That will be the story we are going to be unwrapping today with the founder of Mint Organic Care Company, which is actually a leading brand right now that a lot of people must have come across in your various lives, be it from skincare to their various care products that they currently have in the market. And I'm sitting here with the founder and the visionary. Like I always tell you guys, the best way to support us in Venture Valley is to do something that is totally free. Like, share, subscribe, and ensure that you also comment too, because that's the way this channel grows, and it also affects the quality of guests and partners that will be able to come on the show. Join me on this episode as I speak to the founder of Mint Organic Care. Welcome.
Thank you, Elijah, and the team.
Thank you.
Just for having me here. It's kind of exciting. I believe this is my first podcast.
Well, I mean, and I think we're going to even dive into that because I really admire the fact that I've experienced the brand before I actually even knew the face behind the brand. What exactly was the vision? Like, what did you see? Considering that we did not necessarily, the audacity really to say, I want to build a leading, I think you said it from skincare.
So it didn't start that way. It wasn't like I had this vision and this like grand plan to build it to what it is today. I had moved back from DC to Nigeria and I have troubled skin. I've dealt with like eczema, dry skin, acne, hyperpigmentation.
We can tell.
Thank you. But I've dealt with all of it my life. And so when you move from a market like the US, which has everything and anything, and you move to a market like Nigeria, there's a gap there. And I it wasn't sustainable for me to keep like importing products from the US, right? So I was like, it's soap and cream. How hard can it be? Let me just make my own stuff for my skin. Just, something that I would really, really like and enjoy and love to use every day. And so I then took a class in California on just the basics of like product formulation and how to do this organically and what to expect and things like that. So it wasn't something that I intended for like business. It was really just personal. And this was during my NYSC year where I was figuring out what I wanted to do. And I thought that I was going to, because my master's thesis was in public-private partnerships, right? So my passion had always been with regards to how the government can team up with private ventures to fill in market gaps. So I thought that that's basically what I was going to be doing, like working with businesses or working with the government and trying to figure out policies and things like that to, make your economy better. But then I worked at BPE during my NYC year, and it was eye-opening. It was interesting. It made me realize that maybe that would not be the best fit for my like working in a parastatal or like civil service. Yeah, there's like a very certain there's just like this kind of vibe that's there, and everything was just so different from what I knew. But I still wasn't considering myself like an entrepreneur anyway. So I'm making these products and I'm using them. And then my family is like, I want some, I'm using them. They're using them and they're loving it. And the products are really nice. Because I was intending to make this for myself, I source like the best of ingredients, which is something I want to talk about later with sustainability and growing. But I got the best ingredients. I made it, and then I think people started asking for like gifts, like, oh, somebody's getting married. Can you just do this, do that? And then that was when I decided that, okay, I'm going to do this as a business, or maybe just like a side business. Maybe it's not going to be everything that I do, but I'm going to do it. And if I'm doing it, it has to be nice. It has to be really nice. Okay. I didn't know like what it was going to be, but I knew that if I'm doing it, it has to be as nice as it can possibly be. And that's how we started. I registered the business and I was making it in my dad's house for like 3 years before we moved to the location that in Libreville, which was our first shop.
Wow.
Yeah. And then we were there for 5 years. And then now we've moved to our headquarters.
Well, I mean, your brand through the years, I mean, what was that thing that made you say, you know what, I'm going to face this full time? Because you came from a very well-educated background, public policy. I mean, that's really fancy. You would have coming from the States, then you now come back and you say you're making skincare.
I think this is like a personal ideology. And if I'm being honest, I did battle with it because, when you're coming from that kind of environment, and this was like, 2013, 14, right? Just before the boom of content creation and things like that. So I feel like the millennials, which is my generation, is like the last generation where it's kind of like you have to have this professional office job versus doing this thing. And from the very inception, I didn't look at it as skincare. I just looked at it as product market value. That's kind of the way that I was looking at it. And I knew that whatever it is that I do in life, I don't know what it is, but I know that I'm going to try to be excellent in it. And excellence is something that you do. So whether I was doing policy or skincare or whether I was a musician or writing, I felt like, and I'm not really trying to sound conceited, but I knew that whatever it is I did, I was going to excel in it because I was going to give it my very best. Yeah. So it just so happened to be that who I am is showing through that. But I've always been that type of person.
So you wouldn't say it was a business that was started out of passion?
It was a business, I think, that was started off as necessity, right? And if I'm being honest, if I knew that this was something that I was going to expand to, wherever it has today, I might not have used the quality of ingredients that I did because I started it thinking this was just going to be like for me and a few people max. I wasn't really thinking that this was going to be completely commercialized. So as I had already started with that standard, I've kind of had to keep that up.
But let's I mean, I'm going to come into that a bit, right? But because we're going to talk about infrastructure and resources. Have you always been a hands-on person? Like, did you always make things? Because how do you just wake up and say, I'll start making my own cream and my own?
You know, as you say that now, I realize that that is kind of like nobody just does that. But I've always been born with a very sharp sense of scent. Like, it's extremely keen.
Sense of sense.
Yeah, sense of smell. I can smell things. Like, I identify people by their smell more than their face. If you know what like if somebody comes into the room, I don't need to see who it is to know who's there. If somebody comes into my home that's not somebody that lives there, I can know even after they've left, things like that. So I figured that how hard can it be? And I live in Nigeria now. I need to, be intentional about what I put into my skin. And I guess the backstory, you can see that I'm wearing pink today and my assistant is wearing pink. You asked me why. And it's because in 2006, I lost my mother to breast cancer. And during that time, during her battle and the whole, I started to learn that human beings are not robots. Human beings have to be taken care of in a certain way. What we put into our body, what we consume, it all plays a part in how well we live. And so, I didn't want to just put anything in my body. I was like, I live in Nigeria now. I'm really trying to live a healthier lifestyle. And I don't want to just buy things that are on the shelves. We also know that there's a lot of fake products in the Nigerian market, things on the shelf. And I just didn't want to do that. So I felt like this was the best thing for me. And I felt like it would also be more sustainable if I can just make my own things and keep, because I like cosmetics. I think women in general, even men, I feel like men really like cosmetics as well, but it's just maybe they aren't educated enough or know where to get these things on how to. But I feel like people want the best if it's accessible and if it's there. So I guess I did it for myself, my future self, and then it became a business.
So that was why you focus more on organic.
Yes, that's exactly why, because there's tons of, products in the market that have everything. But I feel like what I wanted was just to have something that doesn't have everything. It has the things that I need in nature's form, the way God created it. That's kind of how.
Okay, so let's zoom in a bit on why we need organic products. What exactly is existing right now in the market, and why is there a shift? Because I think that right now there's been a global shift towards everybody wants to go a bit more organic. Why is that? And what toxicity are we seeing with other products?
Our skin specifically, right, is our largest organ. It's almost 70% of our entire organ system. And so imagine what is being absorbed on your skin every day. And as the world has become more commercialized, people want products that have a certain texture, smell a certain way, and also have a long shelf life. And so to derive those components, you're going to have a lot of chemicals, sulfates, phthalates, things like that are not good.
I've heard a lot about those phthalates.
Yeah, they're not good for us. They sit in our system, they disrupt hormones, they cause skin issues, they cause mental issues, they cause health issues. And obviously, this is a combination with the lifestyle that you live. What is being absorbed on your skin every day? In its purest form, it's always better for you. But, as human beings, you want colorful stuff. You want glitter. You want a certain scent. You want something to smell like blueberry. You want certain things. And so we've seen a rise of these types of product in the market. But we've also seen a rise in so many other issues in the world, like cancers and infertility issues and hormone disruptions and ADD and autism and, all types of things that are being linked to what we consume every day.
I think recently I saw, I don't know who was speaking about it now, but I recall the person was talking about, I've forgotten the name now. Is it bio? There's this stuff that women put for skincare. They said pregnant women shouldn't. For nighttime skincare, is it?
Oh, there's so many.
Many. I've forgotten the name now.
There's retinols.
Retinol, yes. Yes,
yeah. There's so many things that you use every day to keep yourself to, look nice or smell nice or just, whatever it is you want, but they're not always healthy. And so I figured that if I'm going to create a product in the market, again, this was for me anyways. And so this was more like, what would I want to use? Do I need do I need like a blue cream or a pink cream? No, I don't, to be honest. I just need something that's going to moisturize my skin. And, these are things you're using all your life, right? So you really want it to be, for me anyways, in the purest and most natural form that's going to be. So I couldn't imagine creating a product in the market and then just adding to what the market already has. Like, no. And, actually in Africa, I feel like we have a lot of nature values. We take pride in natural things, in our foods, in doing things differently than the West. And so this is actually a really good market to have that, because I feel like people want that. And maybe the major issue at the time that I started making them was like, they're not properly packaged, or the information you need about the product. Like you can buy like Dudu Osun, for example, right? But it's not always like it's not like inviting to buy, should I say. So I said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make it nice. I'm going to make it look attractive. And I'm going to make sure that it is as natural and healthy as it can be. So that's my contribution to the product market in Nigeria.
So, but why? I mean, many times we experience, like you said, organic products.
Yeah.
And I think for a long time, even the black soap, it was later on we saw Dudu Osun that was looking a bit more packaged, right? So most people felt, okay, that's a good soap. But I mean, the way it comes, it was always something that you had to have a plug somewhere who
get right.
One of your aunts and you're a healer from
the village and stuff like
and you see all of that, right? Why was it so? Like, was it because for me, I kind of feel like if you're going to sell something nice, let's not forget we're still humans. We like
nice things,
right?
Because I think that there has been a thought process in Nigeria, and I think that this generation is really, with internet and social media, and also just people having more exposure and traveling, we're seeing that things don't have to be like that. So I feel like the reason that it was like that is because there's a thought process that it doesn't have to be nice, it's natural. Like, this is what you're going to accept it anyways. You don't need all that other stuff. Or at least that's what people thought, that all this other stuff is not necessary, because making it nice is an added cost. I would say that making the product look a way and presentable and having all the ingredients listed and all that is probably a higher cost than the product itself. And you live in a country like Nigeria, where people be like, you want to charge me 18,000 naira for shea butter that I can get from my auntie, this and this and that. Not really understanding that it's part of the experience. So I think that's just why at the time our market was very elementary and people just wanted to use the product. You don't need it to be in all that, which, if I'm being honest, I'm actually not a fan of all the fancy packaging. I think that there's a lot of excessive packaging in things. And so in our shop, we actually have the option for you to pay for the packaging if you want it, and then you don't pay for that added cost if you don't.
Really?
Yes, because if I could, I would be fine with getting soap. I'll be perfectly fine with getting soap wrapped in a newspaper. I wouldn't really care, because I feel like I'm mostly buying it for the fact that it's a soap, not really like the packaging. You're going to tear it out and throw it as soon as you're ready to use it. But I understand that when you're commercializing products, you have to give it a certain look so that it can be in other shelves and people can kind of be attracted to it. But I'm not really a fan actually of all the extra stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think actually we're even damaging the environment.
It's a lot of plastic and you're just throwing it out. So we use recyclable packaging materials where possible. And then if you don't, like our cans, like anything that comes in a glass, you can get it in a box if you want, maybe if it's a gift to somebody. But if you don't want, you don't have to get that and you don't pay for it. Yeah. That's actually one of my favorite features about what we do.
So, I mean, but let's talk about commercialization, right?
Yeah.
You spoke about it earlier, speaking about the quality of resources, or should I say raw materials that you use, speaking about how when you started and how you've been able to stay sustainable. How have you been able to find it, like in terms of?
So I would say that Mint actually has a very small market. Like,
really?
I would say compared to how big we could be doing. Like, we're not everywhere. We're not even in Lagos right now, but we will be. I don't know when this is going to be aired. So I don't know if I could say that, but and that's because I've been trying to make sure that we're keeping up with sustainability. So like right now we have a whole line of products that are out of stock, and they're out of stock because the season is changing and some certain things aren't available. And I try to make our products, I try to align them with the season and also get the ingredients when they're available. So it hasn't been easy.
That's a very tough category.
Yeah, it is. It's really hard. And so when you see brands like expanding fast, especially natural brands, there's this question of, okay, do you start to kind of not reduce the quality, but maybe add some other things to be able to keep up with demand? Do you stay small? Do you just have another brand, like a sister brand that maybe is not organic? How do you do it? So for us, we might be known, but we're not very accessible. I would say we're basically only in Abuja at this time. There are few places in Lagos that you can pick up our goods, but we're not just like in Lagos, in Port Harcourt, in Kano, and Kaduna. We're not like that. And that's because I've really been trying to sustain the integrity of the product. And maybe this is like one of the things that I'm facing now on how to do that. So I've been traveling, trying to find other suppliers that can kind of grow with our capacity, still keep it natural. We also just try to promote certain products in certain seasons and not, other products and other seasons.
So, but then,
yeah, it is tough. It's definitely not easy.
But you still stay committed to it.
I do, because at least for now, and this is when you start having stakeholders, investors and things like that, the conversation changes a little bit. And there's some products that I think, I won't say you can compromise. I guess there's some products that you can change from market. And then there's some products that I absolutely will not. And those are the ones that we put on our skin. I will always be kind of very strict with those products, but maybe our scents, we can get blends of other things that are not toxic, but maybe not what I would necessarily have liked to use. But it's a question of keeping up with demand and, So when I realized that this was something that I was going to put out to the world outside of my home, I remember talking to my teacher in California, Joan Moraes, and I remember asking her, because when you're first starting out, you have to define yourself and the scope you're going to do, because people are going to ask you a lot of things. So I remember people asking me if I could mix in natural bleaching agents into like, and I'm like, and if I'm being very honest, there was a time I was considering it because so many people are like, you will make so much money if there's a way to do it. And I remember talking to my teacher.
A way to bleach organically.
Yes, exactly. Which, there are natural brightening agents, but they do not do what this person that's asked. It's not going to do what they're asking for, which is to change your skin tone by like 3 to 4 shades.
Gosh. And
I remember her telling me that when you start something like this, you have to figure out your principles and what you want to put out, and then the right people will align to that, or your market will align to that. And she straight up told me, she's like, I don't think you should bleach. And I'm like, oh, you're American, you don't really understand. And she's like, I don't need to understand. I know that it's not going to be good in the long run, and I can't help you in trying to formulate something that's going to be healthy. And then, I was thinking about it and I was like, yeah, why would I even really want to do that? And with other things. So my motto for a long time was, if it's sold out, it's sold out. This is with regards to, because it wasn't just bleaching. It's like, okay, do I get certain types of ingredients to be able to sustain? And so for a long time, it was like, if it's sold out, it's sold out. Like right now, we're sold out on diffusers, and it's causing a big problem. People are like, somebody asked the other day, have your diffusers gone extinct? And I thought that was just like such a funny way to ask. But this is what I'm battling now at this level. And this is why we're not.
So is there no way to create like local alternatives?
Local, like, do you mean ingredients?
Like, do you source everything in Nigeria? And
no, most of the things are not sourced here, unfortunately.
Why?
Because we don't have them. So for example, we have lemongrass as a plant, and we have lemongrass everywhere. You might even have lemongrass in this compound, but we don't have lemongrass essential oil. So the same thing that is our problem.
Why don't we have a lemongrass essential oil?
Because the same thing that is our problem with oil is the same thing that's our problem with anything. We have raw materials, but we don't have a way to process and manufacture them. So we might have it, but I still have to go outside to get it in the form that I need. And sometimes you have it in the market, but there's no proper market like information, right? Like the first year that I was doing this, I was struggling to get things that we have because it was ghetto, to be honest. Like if somebody would call you to be like, I have cocoa butter. Oh, okay. What's your company? This, what are your certifications? No, madam, it's not like that. So we have 25 kg. Do you want to buy this and this? So you're buying stuff, but you cannot really verify that this is the grade you need, this type you need. And then you only find out after you've spent like 4 million naira in making products, then you realize that, oh, it's different. It's this. So I had to first buy everything that I wanted from outside to see what to expect so that I can know. And Nigeria might have these things, but it's not in the form or the grade that I desire.
Oof.
Yeah. So there are a few products like shea butter, coconut oil.
Yeah, I was going to say shea butter.
Yeah, but you know what? Now, shea butter is actually cheaper to buy outside than here, but I still buy it here. But something happened last year and shea butter went up to like almost a million naira for 25 kilos. Ooh. I know. Yeah, it's really crazy.
I mean, the government just did something around shea.
I saw, yeah, and even like with exporting and all that. Yeah, so
I'm thinking that might help a bit.
We'll see. I mean, with a product like that, I've decided to stick to it. But I can maybe 5 products, 6 ingredients out of maybe 70, I would say, we get here.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not great.
So would you be looking at going into maybe making the product yourself, like the shit, like processing?
Yeah, going backwards, right?
Backward integration, even if it's for self, because you've created the demand.
My team has asked me this. Directors have asked me this. Maybe I wouldn't say no, it's impossible, but I also have to like manage my own, like what I think I'm able to kind of realistically do. And because that's like highly capital intensive. I need all the equipment. We need stable lights. By the time you do all that, you realize that, it's probably better to just buy it imported. Because there was a time that maybe we would have extra ingredients and I would put them up for sale. But because they were made in Nigeria, the sale price, I don't know. I just feel like certain things have to be set in place for Nigeria for us to really get into manufacturing. If not, the cost isn't just going to make sense. The time that you're going to spend dealing B2B is like a whole other thing. But if things improve in Nigeria, I possibly could. Yeah, I feel like that would help not just us, but a lot of people. But we would need a lot of different types of equipment, space, machines, skilled labor, so much.
So, I mean, let's talk about growth and expansion.
Yeah.
So you've started this business, it's been growing. What growth mechanisms did you put in place in order for you to sustain growth? Because there's also growing pains. How did you get your first customers? How did you build a brand? What were some decisions that helped you along the journey?
That's a really good question, and one that I myself look back and I'm like, I guess because, like I've explained to you, this wasn't something that was like, oh, I have this business idea, blah, blah, blah. It was it came to me naturally for myself. I wasn't worried about growth for a while. And I'll get there. I was just doing my thing. I was just enjoying making the products, experimenting. I was enjoying other people using them. We launched on Instagram. This was like the golden age of Instagram where, you post one picture and it's like out there.
Yeah.
So that was how the brand started. It was just kind of like a little cute Instagram handmade boutique thing. And then, like I said, I was making it for myself and family, right? But then we would do, yes, I did a lot of fairs around Abuja. Fusion Family Fair was like one of the first places. Yeah, that was really great. That really gave us like an audience because then people were giving me feedback in real time. I originally tried to do things like bare soaps, like no packaging, because again, I told you I don't really like packaging, but people would give feedback like, oh no, I think this should be packaged and this and this, and this is before NAFDAC anyways. And then it would be fine. But I do remember that there was a time for 3 weeks where I didn't have one order. not like one order, not one thing. But it was fine. I was like, it is what it is. I wasn't really worried. And that's, I think, the blessings of when you first start out. There isn't really a lot of pressure or anything to it. It was just what it was. And then we would just grow organically. We did a lot of souvenirs, a lot of gifts. Nigeria is like a great place for word of mouth because Nigerians are just generally people that like to do what someone else is doing. They, they don't really want to necessarily like research. If it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. And so I would say we grew a lot through word of mouth and then Instagram. And then eventually I realized that, this is kind of becoming real. I needed to do a website. I needed to do more fairs, but I would say everything was still really small scale. For me, I think the biggest change happened in COVID 2020. Yeah.
How was COVID for you?
It was amazing. It was amazing. Like people were at home sad and bored and couldn't go out. And they were like, oh, what can I do? I can have a nice bath. I can burn a candle. I can get diffusers. And so that year, our revenue went up it tripled. Ooh. Right? Yeah, it tripled. And so I would honestly say, full transparency, that was the year that I started to get my life together. And this is 6 years after the business, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah. This is 6 years after the business. So before then, I was just like having fun. Yeah.
Were you really having fun?
I was. It wasn't stressful. I had this like very cute boutique, this store that I loved. Everything was made in very small batches. I wasn't worried so much about all the other stuff. It was more like I'm having fun and I'm making a little bit of money from this and I'm like enjoying the creative process.
Were you doing this full time or you had something else?
No, I was doing this full time. So I was making the product with one other person. In lab, David, and then we had 2 sales girls. So it was very small and manageable. And it was a good time. Like I really enjoyed it. I wasn't that big and I wasn't making that much money, but I was happy. Yeah.
Do you miss those days?
Oftentimes, yes, because, more money, more problems, more responsibility, more this, your team is growing. We had a team of like max 4 then, and now we're like, 20? I don't even know. She was telling me the other day, I thought it was 15. And then I figured it's like 20, and you have this big space with the overhead. You have proper customers that are not like family and friends that you are accountable to. And now you need like proper systems. Now you need proper investment. Now you need like to grow as a person to be able to also like carry this business.
So how did you approach? I mean, how did you scale? Like talking about investments.
Yeah.
Did you have to raise? Did you just grow organically?
I have really been lucky in that in those 6 years where I was doing my thing, people are watching you regardless. And even if you're playing in 6 years, people are looking at the fact that you've been consistent for 6 years, right? And so at that point, I started having people offer me money, not too much, but enough for me to start to buy materials in advance in larger quantities. And most of these people were like people that I know. And then my husband was like, okay, so I've seen you be consistent in this for a long time. And this is what I want a stake in this. I want us to do this properly and take it to the next level. So he was like a major contributor. And then a few other people as well. So funding for one. And then once you have funding, you start properly advertising, right? We did a lot of, and still till today, a lot of Instagram ads. I feel like Instagram was just like a really good way to get your product name out there for the audience that you want. Because we had tried other avenues as well, like Google ads, Facebook ads, but Nigerians don't really use they don't go online to shop like that. And so Instagram was one place that was like really lucrative. And then with funding, you then expand your lab, your production, right? And at this time now, banks, BOI, they're offering you like money as well, right? And I never collected money from banks in Nigeria and BOI because so like with BOI, they need you to invest in capital, like
Machines, yeah.
And we are still very much handmade, right? So I'm like, can I use this money for ingredients and raw materials? They're like,
They will not
no.
agree. Yeah.
So I just started receiving funds, I would say internally, myself, my savings, my husband, my family, my dad, and then two other people not in the country, like Americans that just saw what we're doing, and they're like,
support this.
yeah, like we want a stake in this. We want, one of them is Nigerian American. So this is like a good way for for me to have something in Nigeria to put a stake in. So that was how we started to grow. And then that was Libreville, right? And then 5 years after Libreville, wonderful 5 years. I really did enjoy my time there. I realized we needed to move. And I wanted to get a space that was, so I'm the type of person that likes to grow accordingly. I'm not the type of person that likes to grow like you're 0 today, 100 tomorrow. I don't like that type of growth. I like
incremental.
Yeah, incremental type of growth. So from Libreville, I wanted to go to a place that's a little bit bigger, but not that much bigger. I've never really wanted this like gigantic space. But, people are watching you again. People are seeing that you're growing and people are looking to invest. A lot of people are looking to invest. I always find it so amazing when people ask, are you raising money? Because in my experience, people will give you money if you've been consistent and focused on something long enough. People come up to you to say, hey, I trust you with this and this because I've seen that this is what you've been doing. So we ended up getting an offer for the place that we're at now, which is a massive space. And I was like, this is not what I'm looking for. This is kind of too much, but it worked out eventually. And I realized that, okay, this is probably the direction that I need to go in. So I got more funding through the same channels, really. The same people are just kind of adding, and there's like a little bit of equity that they take from the business, and that is how we have grown to where we are today. And now we're in another stage of funding because we're expanding to Lagos. But people in Lagos have actually offered us investment. So that's great. Just in terms of like property, space, things like that. So
kind of like a franchise model?
No, not a franchise, even though this is something that we're thinking about. So I am still completely running everything, but they are offering the capital. Like, this is the building that that you can use. This is the space that you can use. Basically providing everything to run the storefront so that we can then just focus on what we do, which is creating the products and selling them.
So let's even go a bit forward, right? You started out this brand, started picking up steam. Friends, family, loved ones willing to invest, strangers willing to invest. How did you not lose the joy that you have? Or did you even struggle?
The joy?
About working in the business? Because you said those early days, there was so much joy.
I'm still having a lot of joy. Let me not say it like it's, but there's just so much more responsibility now.
Yeah.
And I say, one of the things that I've realized is I say no to most things, more things than I say yes to, even people offering you money. Because if I'm not ready to take the money, if I'm not ready for what this is going to come with, if I don't know, I will say no. So if I would say, let's say 12 people have offered to invest, and I think that amount is like less than what it really is. I would say there's only 4 people that I've accepted from, right? Because people want to give you money a lot, but you don't know what that comes with. So I've been able to maintain my peace by not accepting everything, that looks like it's good, because you might not be ready for it. And sometimes the business is ready for it, but I realized there were a lot of things that I personally I had a lot of growing up to do. In the last 2 years, I've grown up so much to be able to carry out the business to where it is right now. And so I would say maintaining your joy and peace is about saying no more than you say yes.
What are you doing that others are not doing it? Nigerian investors, if I put them in front of me, the biggest problem they will say is no investment.
Investment.
I say, what's your biggest problem? They'll say capital.
Yeah. I think that, like a lot of things in life, what people can tell, you kind of have to, okay, so my motto, and I've learned this through business, is typically the things that I have to chase are the things that even when I do get them, it doesn't work out the way that I necessarily want. And so I have said that I'm going to allow myself to align to things. So if you see me and you believe in what I'm doing, because trying to sell something to people, it doesn't really always work, right? Like, you're telling me to give you money for your dreams, but maybe you don't have that many years of experience. Maybe your financial records don't show the type of growth. And I think really I've been quite blessed in that arena, which is one of this whole business. I feel like has been God leading me into this path and leading me, because every time that I'm like, there's something else that I want to kind of focus on or do, doors just keep flying for this company to go towards that way. And so I think when I ask people like, why are you offering us investment? The number one feedback that I get is that you have been very consistent. And I have been extremely consistent. For the last 10 years, I don't think we have missed any, I think our professional page has consistently posted, rain, shine, whether I'm here or not. We have the people in place to make sure that it keeps running. And I also think that there has been tangible, measured growth. You might not see my books, but you can see that we were online and then we were in this small space and now we're here. So something has to be. I think you can also see that the products are in different places, like you said, now becoming a household name. And so I think the good thing about consistency and building, which I understand that it's very hard to, it's kind of like a catch-22. You need capital to build, but you need to build in order to receive that. But I would say that the main thing is just building consistently, whether or not you're making sales. I think there's something stronger than that. And I think that is your character is what people are investing in more than the business.
I came across a quote that says, success is not what you pursue. It's actually what you attract by who you become.
That's deep. Yes, I agree. The biggest lesson that I've learned in the last 3 years is that your capacity for success is directly correlated to your character growth.
So many Nigerians, one of the major things we struggle with is quality control. As entrepreneurs, you find out that building such a thing, that means there has to be knowledge transfer. There has to be some form of systems, structure in order for you to be able to consistently deliver on excellence.
Yeah.
How have you gone about approaching that?
Okay, so when we first started, right, in my joyous days, I would experiment a lot. I would have, for example, 12 different types of bar soaps. I would, have different types of scents, products. Even till now, I sacrifice a lot of products that I want to do because I'm constantly thinking about scaling and sustainability. And so by the time we moved into the shop, I had to cut everything down. So except for like candles and diffusers, products do not have more than 3 scents or variants. So from 12 bar soaps, we've cut down to 5. From 6 or 7 body butters, we've cut down to 3. And whether or not you like it, if you're in a business like this, there has to be knowledge transfer. So we have, everybody in the lab has access to the formulations, and I know like people are like, oh, but you can't grow because I'm not in the lab, I can't make the products all the time. But I've realized that in Nigeria, we overestimate another person's ability and underestimate ours. Even with my staff having access to everything, including suppliers, including how to make it, including where to get it from, including the exact formulations. If I'm not there behind it to run it, it's still not going to be what I want. And so this is why I'm more worried about giving them access to these things. Anyways, a lot of the ingredients are imported anyways. But even if, you know what I mean? Because just because somebody has the recipe doesn't mean they can make the sauce.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how it really is. So I have overcome this by just being fully transparent with my staff. Like, you have to, like, this is what it is. This
But shouldn't it be your dream to want it to be that everyone that works for you knows how to make the sauce?
knows how to make the sauce.
Yes.
That is what my dream is, because then there's more sauce for everyone, right? But a lot of people don't feel that way, because I also get it. Nigerians that sometimes can have like poor professional integrity, where your staff can just go and open your business. That was advice I got a lot. So, my God, somebody else is going to open Spearmint Organic Hair.
Spearmint.
Yeah, like I got that all the time. But then how do you grow? You have to scale. So this is what we make. This is how we make it. Learn it, understand it, and duplicate it.
So do you find it that, talking about like the formulation, everyone knows the formulation, everyone is doing it. I think going back a bit, I remember I came across an information sometime, and I told a friend of mine, I said, this recipe to make cake is no secret.
Yeah, it's not.
The recipe, and as a matter of fact, there's in every household the equipment to process the raw batter into a cake, either as an oven or something. But we still bake cakes.
Yeah.
And everybody's own tastes differently. So that means even though someone might have it in their environment, in their reach, doesn't necessarily mean they can produce the same results.
Exactly. And it's actually different. It's different when I make the products. There's a difference. So when I have time, which is becoming increasingly rare, I try to make the products from my house specifically. Like, I just try to make that. Sometimes I have my own personal ingredients I want to use. It is very different, because they're just little things that go into forming. It's just like, if you and I were to make jollof rice with the same, it would still end up being different. So it's different to varying degrees, but as long as it is like staple enough, I've come to realize that when you're expanding, you have to let go of control and let go of like your what you would want to just cater to your customers.
Yeah. So, but then something that comes to mind when I think about building a product like this is the fact that you would typically have grown up, in the Nigeria that I grew up in, you would have seen big behemoths in this space that you're playing in.
But like who? Nivea? Is Nivea even?
But they're not necessarily. All those guys. They are typically big because they're in skincare, nonetheless.
Yeah. So
you don't count them as your competition.
Okay, like who?
Nivea, you spoke about, and the likes.
That's not even a Nigerian brand. Yeah, who is a Nigerian brand that is really, really Pearsons?
Yes.
Is that a Nigerian brand? They might not be.
I don't think they're a Nigerian brand, but I know that they are under Unilever Nigeria.
So then it's not really a Nigerian brand.
But they are still in your market.
They're not. We're not in. I don't consider those to be my industry peers at all. Like, not even close.
Why?
Because they are targeting. So first of all, even by the way they brand by the way a brand packages something, you can understand the target audience they're trying to meet. One, I don't know the last time I entered a supermarket and I saw like maybe like all the brands that I think I can think of, majority are international brands. And I think that the world is now turning away maybe from multinational brands and looking at
local brands,
more local, niche, smaller brands. So I don't even consider me in the same like category as Dove or Nivea or Old Spice, or I'm trying to think of the Nigerian ones and I really can't, but I think those are completely different industries.
Interesting.
And they have their market, and sometimes you have customers that use both. You have somebody that's like, Dove soap works good for me, but I want to use mint body butter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so what has been your worst moment in this journey?
A lot. Like a lot. Let me think. Think
about it.
I don't, as an entrepreneur, I don't think you can call one worst moment.
Yeah,
But
but I mean, what's one that made you feel like saying, you know what, I'm gonna quit?
I've
Have you ever
never
had
thought
those
that.
moments?
No,
Really?
never.
Never felt like quitting?
Nope.
Wow.
Yeah, I've never said I'm going to quit. I've just realized that this is very difficult and maybe I need to pivot, but I've never thought I'm going to quit. Actually, that has never crossed my mind.
Okay, you'd have thought you need to pivot into what?
So pivot, like, okay, there's a way that I need to do this that is not
Okay.
good, and maybe I need to change the way that I'm going to do this.
I mean, when you had that 3 months or the 3 weeks that no sales came in.
You see, like, it was so new at the time that I didn't even know that that's not normal. I didn't even know. I was so new to entrepreneurship that I was like, oh, maybe people just have something else going on right now. I didn't even realize. But that was so new in the journey that there was honestly nothing to lose at that time. Maybe I had launched like 3 months before. So I didn't even think of it that way. I just thought, okay, this is, I guess I've also trained my mind to realize that everything happens for a reason. So in the 3 weeks that you're not making sales, there's a lot of other things you can do. You can perfect your formulation. You can experiment. You can start doing marketing. Like, I wish sometimes that I even had the time to pause now and do some things. But now you don't have the time to pause. You're doing everything concurrently.
At the same time, yeah.
So no, I've never had a moment where I'm like, I'm going to quit. But there have definitely been times where like I have cut down a lot on the markets that I've wanted to cater to. So like with the hotel line, there was a time that we're catering to a lot more hotels. And then I was like, no, I can't do this. So I'm going to cater to specific types of hotels. And that's just where it's going to be.
I'm going to come to that. What has been your, yes, this is working moment that you knew that, okay, see, you know what?
COVID.
Eh?
COVID.
Okay.
Yeah, COVID. That was like the year of, for me, reckoning, realization. There was like a lot of things that happened during that time. I know that COVID was just like a horrible period for many in the world at large. But for me, the time of sitting at home, being forced to face yourself, your job, no friends, you know what I mean? You're just at home. That was like a moment. So when I saw that, okay, and then because, I don't honestly know, because I guess we started doing promotions a lot on Instagram. I started realizing that you have to, like, promotion is not something you do once. You actually have to consistently be doing it. And once we're doing that, and I was like, yes, okay, so this is what I'm meant to do. I just need to professionalize it. So I would say that COVID was that period for me.
COVID?
Yeah.
That's when you saw the money start raining.
Meanwhile, that was 6 years after I'd already started this business.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So let's talk about what you just mentioned.
The hotels.
Yes, the hotels.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Mint Hospitality. That's what
Okay.
Let's talk about Mint Hospitality Care Co. So you've gone from skincare brands to doing home care brands.
Okay. So
like the scents, the diffusers.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
You know,
because I don't really like being known as a skincare brand, because I would say we're a lifestyle brand. Because we do actually, I think we're more known for scents than skincare. I think that's what our team tells me.
Really?
So so because when you look at it through that lens of a lifestyle brand rather than a skincare brand, you can see how easy it is to go into hospitality. Because then hotels came to me and said, can you make these for our rooms? And I did it the first 2 times, and it was like not great in terms of like the quality they needed versus the realistic budget of what it is to do that. I did it so I was like, no, I'm gonna pause this, and when I have the resources to do this properly, which is like export the packaging, I'm gonna do it properly. And then we had one hotel that said, we'll wait. And I was like, you'll wait? This might be a few years. And they're like, yeah, we'll wait. And they did. And so knowing that I had somebody to kind of give something to, I was like, okay, let's just get this done. I already have the formulations. It's really just about a matter of packaging. And so that's how we went into hotels.
Wow. And what do you do for hotels?
We do their room amenities. And sometimes we also scent their space. We like do their fragrance interior is a term that I've been using.
Fragrance interior?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, you typically refer to your love, for skincare and for scents and for the work that you do as borderline obsession.
Maybe scents, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe with scents. I mean, I'm obsessed with scents. It's also like my greatest sense as well. It's the first thing I notice about almost anything. So it's hard not to be like obsessed with it. Yeah.
Okay. So now let's talk about infrastructure, right? Typically, I had a guest on the show, interestingly, who started a drink brand.
A drink brand. Okay.
Yeah, called Stay Light.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the episode is out. And basically, it's an electrolyte drink brand. So it's supposed to be like a healthy alternative to you taking energy drinks,
Oh, okay. Nigerian made.
No.
No. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so he did it based in the US
Okay.
also.
Okay.
So, but generally, when he came up with the idea, before you know, he was formulating, before you know, he was. So, there's some form of infrastructure that Western markets have that helps them. So you see, for example, a Kylie will start a skincare brand, or Rihanna will start a skincare brand, and before you know it is everywhere, And now you're coming to Nigeria and you're trying. I mean, you have to literally build out the infrastructure for yourself.
Yeah.
Down to packaging,
everything.
I mean, ordinarily, if you had a formulation, you should even bother about being the one to make it. People should just take it up, say, okay, this is your formulation, we'll make it for you.
Yeah. Private.
So how have you navigated that in Nigeria?
So when you say infrastructure, do you mean the systems of those?
Yeah, systems, yeah.
Okay, so you talked about like Kylie and Rihanna and all these people. Typically in the West, right, when you start a business, you already start with funding, right? You typically don't start and then you see how it goes. You get your funding, you have a business plan, you have everything, and then you have the capital to immediately have the systems in place.
True.
But if you're like in Nigeria where it's not really like that, or if you're starting something from scratch, you grow and then you start to develop your systems as you're growing, because then also each business has like a tailor-made system. And even till today, like we're still growing and we're still putting systems in place as the company is growing. So for me, this is all about sustainable growth. I know a lot of people like to this today. You can see it's taken us 10 years. And a lot of people literally think my company is 5 years old, 6 years old.
Yeah,
but we've been around. Yeah, it looks like we just started, but you are just learning about it. But I've been growing small. First, we were just a lab-made pickup online, right? You come and pick up. And so that required very little systems. And then you move into a shop, and that requires another set of systems. And then you grow. So it's about growing with this thing.
And do you ever see yourself? Okay.
Sorry, what was that?
Do you ever see yourself going full automation?
Like making the products?
Yeah.
No. I mean, it's possible. I have like stakeholders that want us to totally go that way.
What's wrong with that?
It might not be my choice. Well, one, Nigeria is just not that kind of place. Like, look, we don't even have like consistent power. You know what I mean? So
I mean, they have ways around it nowadays.
What ways?
Well, people using gas, people are using solar.
No, but that takes a lot of capital. I also really do like, and I know that this might sound a little bit like, rudimentary or archaic, but I also really like being able to employ people to teach them a craft. And as it is now, you always still need a person to kind of be able to dictate. So plus, like, we're handmade. That's like our thing, right? It could not be our thing, but I don't see us. I think some products will always definitely be handmade.
Or some products.
Semi-handmade. Semi-handmade.
Because my next question was going to be, how do you balance your love and your passion for sustainability and organic products with profitability and commercialization? Because the way it's sounding is like, don't go into anything organic. No. You will not make money. You will struggle.
No, not at all. Well, okay. So for one, like labor in Nigeria, people need to work, right? So labor is relatively cheap compared to the West. I think there's also a difference in products that are made by, like, with a human touch. I think so. There's a little bit of things there. And I think we can automate some of the processes, but I don't think all of it. I don't think this is like a business that is like going to just be fully machine made. And as you begin to expand, right, and grow and get like investment, your profit margins can grow. But your profit, but like with labor here being relatively cheap, it's really just a good way to balance the economy, give people a job, you get what you want. You can even pay them way more than what the market rate is going for. But in the West, you would never be able to even afford that. But I think most people in the West would prefer things to be handmade. That's why there's such a premium on handmade items, handmade leather, handmade soap. Yeah, because it's different. And, you know, it's...
Yeah, but my next question really is, does that mean you've put a cap on how fast you can grow and how big you can grow?
Yeah, this is one of the questions that some of the directors are having with me right now. And I don't think this has to do with how it's being made. I think it has to do with the sourcing of raw materials. So I think it has to go back to original thing, because I could hire 100 people and put them somewhere comfortable in Edu. We have the space and they can make everything and it'll be fine, right? But will we be able to source the ingredients? I think that's the bigger question.
Okay. Bigger question is majorly sourcing the ingredients.
Yeah, it's raw materials more so than it is how it's made.
That's quite interesting.
Yeah.
But let's step back a little. If, for example, you were going to say, this is the kind of brand I'm building from a global perspective, that in marketing, we call it, who are your aspirational neighbors? What would you say?
I would say, what's like, maybe like Aesop. Like Aesop, do you know them?
Aesop, okay. I haven't heard of them.
Maybe the Body Shop.
Okay, I know Body Shop.
Yeah.
Well, Body Shop, are they full organic?
So they're not. So I'm just naming brands, okay, right? Okay. I don't. So this is what I think is going to be my biggest crossroad, because like you can see, all the brands that you know and are out there are not organic, 100% organic brands, and that's because you cannot cater to that kind of that number, that market, and still have completely 100% natural resources. But there's this South African brand called Rain, and they were actually my biggest like inspiration. I remember going to Cape Town for a wedding and I saw them and I was like, this is what I want. But the last I checked, they're like in 3 cities in South Africa and then New York City. That's it. And I know why. And I think that's so great, because they're trying to be like sustainable and grow sustainably. So is that capping us? Potentially. And so I have to constantly consider, especially now when other people are kind of coming into your company and helping you figure out the direction that you go. You have to figure out what is more important, impact and vision, or growth, profits.
What is more important for you now?
For me, at this point in time, it is definitely impact and vision. I'm just grateful because
not profit.
No, not profit. Money comes, money goes, like not profit. Honestly, and I can say that it's definitely not profit. For me, I'm just grateful to be able to see, I mean, as an entrepreneur, you can imagine what it is to have a concept in your head and to pull that concept from your mind into a tangible thing in reality. That in and of itself is like so rewarding. And I'm still at that point where that's what I'm enjoying. So maybe by the time we start having serious investors that actually want to, maybe at that point in time, my vision would have to change. But I don't know. It's a question I think about. Like at that point, will it then be profits? And this is one of also the like.
Will it then be what?
Will it be about profits?
Okay.
And the more people that come into your company to invest, which is why I don't want to take, the more that it becomes about that profit sharing and how much everybody's getting. But it has never been about that for me, at least in the last 10 years.
Okay, so let's play again.
Okay.
What do they call that brand now? Let me just use Unilever.
Okay. I know what you want to ask. They've asked me this so many times.
Janada.
Yes.
Here is $100 million. We want the mint care, organic, hospitality, everything. Or even parts. What would you say?
So, just FYI, I have been offered something similar by a company in Lagos.
How much?
It was $300,000. Yes.
Whole or part?
Part. They wanted quite a bit of equity though. And I said no. So I said no because I feel like at that time, the company was still too young for me to kind of hands off. I feel like at that point in time, they would have like completely taken over the direction that it has to go. So right now, if like Unilever approached me with that, it depends. It depends like what percentage stake I still have, majority share, what kind of like decisions I'll be able to make.
Okay, so it won't be an outright no.
Right now, like today, it would be an outright no. Oh. Yeah, today it would be an outright no. But in like 5 years, I would really be looking to see if we can find the sweet spot. But today, as we speak, it would definitely be an outright no. Yeah.
Why?
Because there's still a lot of things that I haven't done that I want to get done.
Hey, they don't mind now. Is that not what you use the money for?
But it's not like that. Because then when they come in and they bring their big money, they start making big decisions. And a lot of those decisions, you won't be able to say yes or no, which way they might have their own suppliers, the way they want things to be made. I mean, you see this with companies all the time. And for a brand like this, which it would be different if I was like a business student and I was like, I'm coming up with a concept to make money. You know what I mean? I would definitely say yes. But this was born out of like a real passion and a real vision that I would still like to see through. And then maybe after like 15 years and I've done everything that I wanted to accomplish and do, maybe at that point in time, then we can talk. However, if they're like, we're giving you this money, but you still have all the creative execution, direction, how things are made, blah, 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 then yes.
How big do you see Mint becoming?
I see Mint being as big as any other, like the Body Shop. I see it getting to that. I see it being able to be like that. But I have to answer those questions that you're asking me about sustainability, product dilution versus growth. Yeah. And, I just have to say that I've never envisioned this brand to be like in every city, in every country. That's not really what I always want, like me personally. Now at this point, it's no longer about me. There are other people that might want to see. But you know what? The other business, the Mint, yes, like immediately, yes. Yes, today. Yes, 5 years ago. Yeah, I would for that one.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because it's a completely different component. You're like doing, you're making merchandise for B2B rather than B2C. The product formulation is very basic because these are like hotel soaps, right? And it's highly movable as well in terms of people need it a lot. And I'm not like changing it. There isn't as much creativity in that business. And there's also other things that are not like dental kits, just hotel stuff, things you need when you go to a hotel. So I would take as much investment as I could to expand that. That would be like, absolutely yes.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
So I said, how big do you see it becoming now?
Yeah, so big is relative. So do you mean in terms of like numbers? Do you mean in
numbers
terms of
and location, product categories? Paint a picture for us.
Okay, so I think we're already getting. Well, I don't think I should say specific numbers just because, but profit wise or revenue, let me say revenue wise, right? Big, pretty big as I think a retail brand could get in Nigeria. Location wise, I don't want it to be everywhere, like in every city. That's not what my vision is. My vision is for it to be in very few select cities that will like align with what it is that we want, and then you have shop like e-commerce, like you can just order online and do that. So physical locations, I don't know. I really can't say, but I wouldn't want more than like 5 physical locations.
So you mean you don't want to go to Africa, Asia, Europe?
I want to, but maybe not a physical location.
Nigeria to the world.
But not a physical location. Like I don't want to necessarily have like a shop in Russia, like in, you know what I mean? Like,
okay, like
not right now. Yeah, maybe not right now, but do I want there to be access globally? Absolutely. But I don't know that because our shops are also very detailed and artisanal and very like we spend a lot of money in making sure the space is a certain way. And I don't know if I can carry that vision into every place. Once you start to expand, it's kind of more of just like, it's a point of sale. So right now I wouldn't want this to be like in every city, like a shop. I'm not sure, but right now with how I feel like, unless then maybe we got into a franchising kind of agreement, which I would be fine with. Then it can go wherever it wants to go.
Being a woman in business, have you found it to affect your ability to compete with any other person around the world?
Not for me, not in my mind, no. But maybe for other people, maybe I've lost opportunities because I'm a woman and I just didn't know, maybe.
Really?
But maybe it's possible, but I'm saying from my point of view, I don't see myself as having any disability or handicap in the things that I want to do. Not being a woman, not being Nigerian or Black or whatever. I just have never seen me being a woman as like a thing.
I mean, I'll ask you the question. They say, why don't they ask men?
Okay.
You know the question?
No.
Okay, so they typically ask most women, how do you balance it all?
Oh, okay. Yeah, why don't people ask them that, right?
yeah, they don't ask men, so I'm like, okay.
Again, by saying no to a lot of things.
Okay.
Yeah, I really like... I say no to a lot of things. Like, this is even what I'm telling you, right? Like, even the way that I want to expand, I don't just want to be in every city. I'm not really like the type of person that feels like, oh my God, you have to be the biggest, baddest. Like, I don't. I feel like the important thing is impact and purpose and it reaching that. So I'm able to balance my lifestyle by really doing what aligns and saying no to what doesn't align, even if it might be more profitable, even if it might gain us more popularity or visibility. It's just at the end of the day not worth it. You have a family, you have other things that your life needs to go into. So I balance it all by saying no.
And that has worked.
It's been working great for me. It's been working great.
And you don't feel like it's unfair to you as a woman?
That I have to say, well,
yeah, I mean,
because
men don't just say yes and then they just
no, because like my husband does the same thing as well. He says no to a lot of things to be able to cater to our family. And it's like a mutual sacrifice. I don't know about other men, Sha, but if you're a human being in general that's trying to do things and you're saying yes to everything, something's going to give, right? So I see my family doing it. It's just what you do. You have to prioritize what's important. And so I'm not the only one like just saying no, so it doesn't feel unfair.
So 10 years from now, mint.
Mm-hmm. Well, another 10 years, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you've done 10 years so far.
Yeah.
So 10 years from now, what conversation will we be having?
I think we'll be having like international scale problems. We'll be talking about that. I think we will also have another division coming up soon.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you will see us. I think by then, Mint will definitely be a household name in Nigeria, not just for skincare, but for many other products as well. Just things like if you just want a certain quality, a certain trust for certain things in your household, it'll be Mint.
Wow.
Yeah,
I look forward to that. So quick fire down questions.
sure.
Fire drill. So what's one quirky fact about you that many do not know?
I read, I was mulling over this question because I was like, I don't know. Okay, I'm obsessed with the weather, like completely obsessed with the
That's
weather.
such a British thing to do.
Is it really?
Yeah, I mean the Brits always complain about the weather.
No, but I'm not complaining about the weather. I study the weather. I love to know I even make products according to the weather. Like the day the Hamatan comes, I can tell you the day the weather changes and things like that. So I'm obsessed with the weather. I just think like it's so cool that we live in a world where there's so much going on weather-wise, and that affects us, what we do, my products. So I'm obsessed with weather. What else? I'm also like obsessed with keeping to time. I grew up in a military household, so in Nigeria, if you say 3 o'clock, that could mean 3 to 5. And for me, 3 is literally 3. So maybe I think those are the only quirky things minus scent that I could think about.
Okay. So what's the best gift you've ever received and the best gift you've ever given?
I really like this question. The best gift that I've ever received is the ability to do the thing that I love and to have the support from like my husband and my family. Basically, the best gift that I've gotten was being able to pursue my dreams and my passion. And this is something that I might have taken for granted because I grew up kind of like in the West as well, in the United States, where this is like you're told from an early age, you can be anything you want to be, you can do anything you want to be, dream and imagine. But it's not like that here in Nigeria. A lot of women specifically are not given that chance and opportunity. And so because I have been given this gift by my father, my husband, like just the people around me to, do your thing. You can go to school, you can do, like, I've never been forced to do anything that I don't want to do. I tried to pass that forward by employing a lot of women and giving women the chance to do what they want to do, to create a craft, to create talent, and just to flourish. I tried to support them, not just financially, but even giving them job opportunities to showcase their talent, because that was the best gift that I've been given.
So, I mean, you've spoken so much about your sharp sense of smell.
Yeah.
What has it inspired, and what's like a story you could tell us about how it has inspired a product idea or so?
Everything with Mint, everything that you see there is just a product. I don't mix by name. I mix by like this. So I have to smell it. I have to smell it with other things. And then that's how I come up with all my scent formulations. And I come up with all of them.
Yeah, the brain behind every single product.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, final question. Hey, I'm a young girl in Abuja, Nigeria, and I want to do something like you're doing. What would you have to say to me?
I think this is a hard question, right? Because it just depends on who you are as a person, your background, what your perceived limitations are. But I would say that figure out something that you are either comes naturally to you, but doesn't come to other people, or something that you really enjoy, and figure out how to creatively sell this to the world, and spend the next at least 5 years trying before you quit, and focus on building that craft before you start to market it. Focus on building that talent or whatever, perfecting it. And
Why did you say 5 years?
Because I think a lot of people quit too soon. And I think a lot of people launch too soon. So I think a lot of people are like, oh, I've done this, I know how to make soap. And then they start a business. And then 3 or 4 years later, it's not really still there, or something is going on. So I would say, like, take 5 years to make sure that that is what you want to do and perfect it. And obviously you can still be selling at this time, but take the time to like give it a chance. Basically, don't just start it, see that it's hard, because it is going to be hard, and then be like, oh, I don't want. Give yourself 5 years minimum. I'm going to do this for 5 years and then see how it goes. I think like 5 years is a realistic timeline for any business that's starting from scratch to start making profits and recouping costs and to see the growth and sustainability factor. I think anytime under that, honestly, is like pretty soon. But I know in Nigeria, we do everything fast. Get married fast, children fast, business blowing today. I know that this is the kind of society that we're in, but I don't think it's realistic.
That's
Isn't
funny.
it? Yes, in Nigeria, you finish school immediately. What do you do? NYC. Right after that, you better have a husband. 8-9 months if you're not pregnant. Then business. What I do? Yeah, everything is like, and that's not really how life is when you start lifing. Things take time, especially things that are built to last. It's going to take a really long time. So you can't like say, oh, I love cooking, I want to do, and you start something like, and then 3 years later, you're like, like if you have decided this is your passion, this is what you want to do, I would say give it 5 good years of your best effort and see if you will not be rewarded for it. Because there are also principles in life that just kind of naturally flow, right? And the big factor for a lot of those things is time. But people don't, like, we're conditioned in general in society, but especially in Nigeria, like you have to have made it by 30 and be driving this kind of car. And it's actually quite ridiculous when you think about it.
A lot of pressure we put ourselves under.
There is. And I think that's why so many people, I mean, obviously there's also the like reality of things, like you need money to live and things like that. But whatever you're doing, you have to give it time. You have to give it real investment. Like you have to really commit.
Wow. Thank you so much, Janada.
Thank you. This was a nice chat.
I mean, I really enjoyed the chat. So how can our viewers keep up with you? And are you on any social media platforms or your brand platforms?
Yeah. So I'm on Instagram personally and LinkedIn. Janada Ajeroh or Jan Ajeroh. And then Mint is on Instagram, Mint Organic Care, Threads, Mint Organic Care, LinkedIn, Mint Organic Care, TikTok, Mint Organic. Oh, I'm on TikTok too. Jan Ajeroh.
I wonder what you're doing on TikTok.
Right? She would tell you. So, yes, either of us are on Instagram and I mean, most of the socials. Yeah, even Facebook, Jan Ajeroh or Mint Organic Care.
Any big announcements coming soon?
Yeah.
So break it up for us here so that we have just.
You know, this whole time we've been talking about, like, I was telling you that I don't think we're everywhere and I don't really think we're like, I think we're still relatively small in terms of the reach that we could. And I've been keeping it small because I've been trying to grow sustainably and organically. But I'm really excited to announce that we're going to be in Lagos in November. Yes, like really soon. We're actually going to be we're going to open in 3 places in Lagos.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's
it's
big.
a lot. Yeah, one is just like a pop-up. One is a spa at a hotel. And then one is an actual Mint Organic Care shop. So I'm really excited about that because our Lagos market has just, every time that I would try to open it up in Lagos, the market would just swallow our entire inventory.
Really?
Yes. And I would stop and then I'll come back and I'll say, okay, we're ready. And the same thing would happen. And it just we haven't been able to grow in that direction.
Yeah, in a very sweet spot. So.
It's a good spot. Yeah, it is a good spot. But, you know, there's so many things that come with that, like keeping up with the logistics of it and inventory and making sure. So I completely just paused and now we are back, by God's grace, permanently in Lagos.
So what other location are we seeing?
For now, just Lagos. It took me 10 years to get here to Lagos.
I mean, like, what other location is crying for you?
America. The US.
America is a beast.
Yeah, America is a beast. So this is why I'm just like, because you know you can't go to that market and not be ready and not have everything. We've actually already done the analytics and they're like, you have to have 2 years worth of the stock you have for Nigeria for 1 quarter in the US market, which is realistic. America is like a huge market with people that can afford this, even the diaspora alone. So that's what I'm getting ready to hopefully after Lagos. Let's see how Lagos goes. And I thought that it would be like weird to go straight to America without. So Lagos is going to let me know what the waters are like.
Train you for America.
Exactly.
Oh, I mean, I wish you all the best. And I'm really
Thank
excited
you.
when I see enterprises grow. Like, it's really, really exciting.
It
But I mean,
is.
like, take your time. And like you always say, no rush.
I do. I never rush. I always try to do things when I'm ready for it, because there's nothing worse than praying for something and then you get it and then you realize. So like with Lagos, I had been thinking about this. How's it going to happen? How's it going to happen? Now it's happening all at once in 3 locations.
Yeah.
And I can't say no or back down because I would look so unserious. So when you're praying for something, just make sure that you're ready for
And you're
it. And yeah,
structured
I would
for it.
never rush because it's never worth it rushing.
Janada, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. It was a really, really electric conversation. I'm sure you learned as much as I did. I'm sure if you enjoyed this and you stay till the end, like, share, subscribe, comment, and join us in the next episode. And make sure you follow her and the brand. Her social media handles will be in the description and the comment section below. So please do so, follow it. And if you are not subscribing, please subscribe. Thank you.